Hello and welcome back to the No Excuses podcast. My name's Anne and I live in Worcestershire in the middle of England with my husband Tom. Today is February the 23rd and it's about 4 o'clock, so it might get a little bit dim in here. I don't know whether I'm too bright at the moment, but hey, we'll carry on anyway. It's been a couple of weeks since I last spoke to you, so let me know what you've been up to. I've been unusually strange in the fact that I've started 2 new projects for no real reason at all. 3 new projects since I last spoke to you, and one of which I've finished already, and if you follow me on Instagram you would have seen that anyway. But yeah, it's something strange is happening up here. I'm thinking, I've got all those nice things that I really like, I do really like them all, that I cast on at just after Christmas as part of the 12 cast-ons. But for some reason I feel compelled to start other things. Anyway, as I've said to Ange of Yarn and Yarns, I'm blaming her for giving me castanitis. So before we get into me showing you what I've done, we'll just have a quick run through the admin, and that is all my contact details are below, and details of the make-alongs. The jump-along ends at the end of March, so you've got about another 5 weeks to put things in, and the Craft More in 24 will run probably till the end of September or October, and that is where I'd like you to try something different. And I've got just not many, but a few entries into there, so that's plodding along, and at some point I will try something new too. On that note, I will say right at the beginning, I've actually got my blouse out of the bag. I've detached the fabric from the paper and put the pins back in the little box to give back to Mum, and I've got my interfacing ready. I just need to cut my interfacing out and I can start. So I'm rather hoping to do that tomorrow. I need to start sewing. Yeah, we'll get there. Right, well, if you stay to the end, you will see who won the 700 subscriber giveaway. From that, I will make a wonky bag and send it off to the nice lady that won it, because I know who she is, of course. But apart from that, we'll crack on with the progress, things I've finished, I've started, and I'm going to do a little needle review of the Mindful needle set that I bought from Woolstack, and that was probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and I keep meaning to go through what was in the kit that I bought and do a little comparison with the other needles that I've got. I've talked about needles before, and if I remember I'll put a link back to that video if I've called it something appropriate, i.e. needle review, but knowing me I haven't. But yeah, so we'll talk about that after the knitting bit, and then there's some incoming. I'm warning you, Maggie, and it will please you, Penny, hopefully, that there is some incoming. So stay tuned. First of all, my finished item I am wearing. No, what am I wearing? Well, I am wearing my yellow Sitting Limits jumper by Tanis Lavelli, or Lavelle, Tanis Fibre Arts, and this was knit in, it was knit in a fade set and some yellows that I had, and I knit it last year. So the Sitting Limits is his 4th iteration of me knitting it, and this one's done in garter stitch. It's knit in the round, and already, although I've not worn it, it is pilling quite badly. That's not very good, is it? I've moved my bin, so I've just noticed that. I was going to save this for wearing out, but I'm not. I'm going to wear it as a house jumper, because a couple of my house jumpers are beginning to look really tatty. They're not anywhere near holey, which would be the point that I took them away. But I think I need another house jumper. Now the colour you can see up here, and then it goes into green and yellow and then goes into the dark green at the end. So this is, I think it's merino and nylon, I think, from Yarnworthy. I had her spring fade, it was 50-gram skeins, and I've made it, doubled it up in 4-ply, and I've doubled it up with some minis that I had in different yellows, and I'm really pleased with it. I think this yellow suits me, and I'll fight anybody who says it does. Stupid girl. I'm pleased with it. I'm not sure my lipstick goes. Might be a bit pink actually. But yeah, I'm looking in the mirror at myself. This is what I do, you see. I talk about myself, I must look at myself. And I think it's a bit big. It's a bit big. Now that might be the garter element, that instead of, is garter more stretchy, I wonder, than stocking stitch? It's just that one row's facing a different way. It's right. Anyway, I'm hoping it's not going to pill too much, but either way, it will get worn. And I'll put a link to the pattern as always, and I recommend it. It's top down. I think the third largest size, but I might do it on a 5mm needle actually, and the pattern might call for something smaller. Yeah. If only I wrote things down. If only there was a website where I could record what I did. I've just been putting the new things I've started on Ravelry. Otherwise I'll be finished before I get there. I'm going to slurp. Well, I finished Bobby, the tea room bear, and he's in the next room. I'm not going to go and get him because I can't get out at the moment because I'm trapped in here. Because Tom shuts the door so you can't hear other sounds from the rest of the house, like whatever he's watching on the computer, or if he's in the kitchen or whatever. So I will put a picture of Bobby here. Now, I'm very happy with him, but his clothes look a bit big, even though I did the recommended yarn for the bear and for the clothes. So I think I will show him I'll show him to you next time. I'm really annoyed that I haven't brought him with me. But I've put the rest of the wool back in the loft because I can't cope. I don't want to make another one just yet. I want to give it a few weeks and then maybe do a girly one with a pretty dress and a little cardigan. But yeah, I don't know why the cardigan's so big. I will go down the needle size next time, or cast on fewer stitches. So Bobby's the first thing I finished. Tea Room Bear by Mary Jane Tea Rooms. Then I needed to wash my Legwarmers, the ones that I made out of that strange coloured yellow and brown wool that I may have showed you, and I've been living in them. So I thought, well, I made some squares ages ago, and out of the Halloween set that I bought from Beehive Yarns, I made a hot water bottle. My words will come and I'll stop talking like a robot in a minute. A hot water bottle out of it. Didn't know what to do with the rest. Started making small 2-round crochet squares, and it's double knitting, so they were only about 1.5 inches across. And I remembered they were up in the loft. They were on Ravelry. Got Tom to go in the loft, got them out and joined them together with other bits of DK, because I'd also bought the Superwash Merino Advent in a DK weight from cami in 2022. I bought the Beehive yarn that year as well, but they were very different colours, because the cami is deep and moody browns, greens with a little bit of aqua in, whereas the Beehive is more jewel, not things I'd wear close to my face. Love them, purples, turquoises and blues, far more that end of the colour spectrum. So I've joined up. I didn't plan it, that's the trouble. I joined all my little squares up with double crochet, which is single crochet in the US, and I picked out all the ones that were the colours I wanted to use, because let's face it, they're leg warmers. I'm not going to be wearing them out of the house unless it says that Wonderwool is not going to be warm again, in which case I may put them over a pair of navy trousers. But they're a real mix of colours, because I didn't plan it. I used the colours I wanted to use, and I saved the colours I really liked to one side. Joined them all up and realised they'd be too narrow. Got the colours out that I really like, and had to join them in so they're stuck together, whereas they would have been spread out. Because like, no way, after spending like 3 hours on one leg warm and I still hadn't finished joining the squares up, there was no way that I was going to start again and undo them. So they are almost identical, and they're crocheted together with different wools, all DK. I've raided my DK little pouch I've got full of DK oddments and used some of that up as well, which is good because it means I was using stuff up. But these leg warmers are very, very warm. I put a photograph in them, and there's just over 200 grams of wool in there. So 2 skeins of, 2 full skeins, what would have been, of DK Merino. So I'm pleased, and because I don't think I'm going to put them in the wash. Like I've just washed my 2 of the City Limits, all my socks, and the other leg warmers today, and they're being tumbled on gentle. And when we did it last time, it worked. So hopefully nothing shrunk. Shouldn't do. So I've got my purple leg warmers now. Well, let's say purpley blue colour overall, and I'm very pleased with them because they are keeping my legs warm, and I'm not getting such cold feet at night. I've not noticed cold feet at night since I started wearing them. So I think because they're crochet and it's double knitting, they're holding up better than 2 strands of 4-ply that have been knitted in rib. So the other knitted leg warmers, they collapse a bit, but because of the structure of joining squares together, these stay on my legs a little bit more. I've got very, very short legs, and so they only need to be about 14 inches, 12 inches high to cover most of my leg between my boots. So yeah, pleased about that, very pleased. You go, what's she on about? I will put a photograph up of them. And then I decided, I've had this skein of wool in my drawer, not in the loft, for ages, and I really, really like it. I'll get the jelly bag out for you. Turn myself off before keeping it in my jelly bag. And this is the colour of the wool. It's mainly grey, I would say. It's got like a purple grey in it. It's got splashes of orange, turquoise, and I decided that I was going to make a cowl, because the cowl that I made out of the and special green that Attic Spring Dye sent me, the co-pilot cowl, I wear a lot because it's long. I double it over and it just sits there. It doesn't move like a shawl does. So I've cast on this, and it is based on the Sketch It cowl by Aimiee Pelletier on Ravelry, and it's a free pattern. I'll give you an overall look, and I'll talk a bit about the pattern that I've put into it, because obviously I've modified it. The pattern itself splits the circle of the cowl up into panels of stocking stitch, zigzag stitch, garter and moss stitch, and I think that was it. And I went round and I thought, oh, this is boring. And also, you couldn't tell the difference because this is so variegated. You couldn't see the difference between the different patterns anyway. Now, the stitch that really attracted me to this pattern was the zigzag stitch, and that is that there, if you can see it. Hopefully, if it doesn't show up too well, I will zoom in. I found that I don't hold things high enough, which is, you know, which I just can't do these days. So I've only done so many repeats of the pattern so far. So I've got a big panel of the zigzag. I've got a panel of, between that and the other stitch I decided to do, I've got, if I can find my way around my own thing, I've got rib, just a 2x2 rib, and at the end I've just done a twisted stitch every other row. And then I've done bobbles every 8 rows. It's curling up a bit, it'll need blocking. But can you see the bobbles? I don't know, hopefully. And I've done backwards purl to make the bobbles. I got my Ashbrook out, my Ashbrook shawl by Tammy Gore. It's got tiny little bobbles on that, and I thought, oh, I like those. I'm going to put them in this cowl, you see. Didn't want anything too big or too small, but they didn't show up at all because I've only knit one, purl one. Knit one, and then you pass the stitches over, and they were tiny little things. I thought, well, I'm not having that because they won't show up, especially with the variegation. So I've done like a 6-row bobble, and then done a central double decrease on it with from 3 stitches. So yeah, so I'm pleased with that, and I'm doing a pattern repeat today of the zigzag. I haven't started that yet today, and I usually do it towards the evening. I keep getting up too late, and I keep just getting dressed by noon. It's partly to do with me aching and feeling quite comfortable in bed, but it needs to change, and I'm sure it will once the warmer weather comes, and I'll be looking forward to going to sit outside a bit more, doing some reading, doing different things, and the light will be better as well. So that's the Sketch It cowl, or loosely based on the Sketch It cowl, being knit in Rusty Ferret's Flaming Heart. I think this was part of a mystery club I had from her many years ago. I think about 2017 actually, if I might be wrong, around that time. And I do like the colours in this. I'm not saying it's the most appropriate pattern that I've done for the variegation on the wool, but I'm sticking with it and I'm enjoying it. So there you go. So that was my first cast on, and then it's been bothering me, and I don't like to be bothered. I'm not a worrier, generally speaking. And it's been bothering me that I'd got my needle and thread advent from 2022 sat behind me in this rather nice bag that I made myself. Ta-da! It is wonky. It has a zip in, amazingly, that works, and it's got a little pretty bobble on the end of it, which I need to change because it needs a longer pull. Because I find with these lovely little things here, when they've got the lobster claw clasps, you've only got to pull that and it breaks it or comes on. Well, if you're as rough as me with things. And it's got nice toning lining as well. And I think one or two of you may have had something similar if you bought my bags from the end of 2022, I think, when I got a load of Christmas fabric. The bottom of this is old trousers of mine, but I haven't quite lined up the seams, which is why it's 1K. I wouldn't really send this to anybody else, and I haven't done a box bottom because they just annoy me. But anyway, it's no good closing it up again. I'll talk about what's inside it. I've got all these lovely, I put a photograph on Instagram, all these lovely colours that Libby dyed for Advent 2022, and they're based on semi-precious gemstones. So I'm not going to get them all out, but I will put the photograph up that I put on Instagram of the various colours, and also that's in the Merino yak and silk. And I'd also bought the mystery club, the bi-monthly club last year from Emma of Yarnworthy in Merino yak and silk and the same base. So I decided I had two of these, which is Summer Haze. It's gorgeous, grey, blue and green, greeny yellow, just gorgeous. Two of those, I've got 200 grams, and it says that this scarf takes 400 grams, but I'm not so sure. I think I'm going to need something else as well, but I'm going to go with the flow. And then I'm also using, at the moment, I'm using the minis with that as the main colour. I'm using the minis from the calendar, so it'll be a soft, subtle striping through it. And this is the Pelargonium, and it's from it's from Beata of Hedgehog Fibres. I'm sure I wrote her name down just. Oh, sausages. What am I like? I went and looked it up, right? There we go. So what it is, you start at the corner, you go, make it wider, and then here I've turned the corner. So I'm not sure, I think it just goes up straight now, and then you get decreasing at the other end. So I've weighed it to see where I need to start the decreases, so that I can keep a little bit of an idea of the wool. So that's my first colour mix there. It's quite an easy pattern. It's written out quite longhand, so if you're a beginner and it's a free pattern, you just have to sign up to her website, and then that is the current one. It's slightly different, you can see, which is don't ask me which gemstone it is, I don't know, but I really, really like this. And because it's 2 strands held with, now I've done it on a 4.5 needle, she calls for a 4, but I actually quite like it softer, and I think that might be why I'm thinking I might end up having to add another colour to the end of it. But you know what, I'm not going to worry about it, because if I do, so be it. If this is not enough, then I've got other merino silk and yak I can use, and it'll just go bluey brown at the end, and it's not going to bother me, because, you know, or I could put another colour in the middle. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that, and that's been 3 nights knitting. And again, I've done a section of the pattern each day, because I knitted on the cowl when I was trying to decide what to do with the cowl. I'd undone it, bits of it, undone it, started again, and I'd sat here for probably about 3 or 4 hours with lots of breaks, but obviously not enough, because when it came to go and watch telly in the evening with Tom, I couldn't move, and I seized my shoulder up really badly. It was horrible, and it still hurt me again the next day. So I have to keep moving the joint. I think if you've got arthritis, you'll know that once you start moving, it's not so bad, but that initial movement can be very, very sore. And it was more than that though, because I'd sat in the same position for so long. The joint was like, I don't know, I mean, I'm only going like this, but I do my exercises several times a day. Welcome to my medical podcast. So yeah, I'm pleased with this, the way it's turning out so far. The only disadvantage I think is it's not reversible. I like my scarves and shawls to be reversible, but I'm pleased with it, and it's a lovely colour. and it goes with what I've got on, and this is my main colour palette, that and pastels I really like. So yeah, autumnal colours. So that is the Pelargonium. And I'm going to put it back in my bag. I'll show you some of the other colours that I've put aside for this, to go with this colour. And I think I'm going to need more. So there's a dark green, a purple. Now these are the same minis that I've put into my same wave, but I'm keeping those back, those ones, because I want it to be, yeah, so I might put a pattern, a bit more colour around the sleeves on the same wave. There's a brownie, I wouldn't say mustard, there's a aqua grey-ish. It's very similar to the colour in the main ball. Now this is not going to be, you know, sudden brights and everything, but if I get to the middle and I think that I'm going to need another set of colours, I'll go into some of the other colours and maybe change the main ball that I'm working with. So as you can see, these are very, very subtle, but they're very nice. I think they're going to look lovely together. I'm very pleased with that. I haven't got of that leftovers in here that I can show you. The other minis, I mean. So I'll put that away, and we will then wrap myself around the thing. I'll be back in a minute. We're back now. I'm going to show you these little squares that I worked on last night, and these are the little squares I'm putting towards a blanket eventually. But I absolutely love these colours, and I want to know if anybody recognises it. I've got a suspicion that it's just like a spring set, or it's a mini that I've bought. I've only been able to make 6 squares, and I know I've never made anything bigger from them, but they're gorgeous, and I'd love something bigger in these colours. If anybody knows of anything similar that I could go and look at, because obviously I'm not buying, let me know. So it's sort of a peachy creamy base with pink and green and yellow on, so very, very spring like. And I imagine that there's a few out there that are similar. I've had a quick look, but I can't see anything. So if you can, if it rings a bell, then let me know. So I'll go and look at it. Not buy it, obviously, just go and look at it. Right, I have got, when I was doing the cast-ons, there were some needles and cables I didn't have the right length for, and I thought, I don't want to start swapping things and taking things off. I'm just going to leave everything where they are, and it's always useful to have more needles. So I've been watching Leslie of Not Quite Enough Yarn, and she said she'd bought some of the Mindful Knit Pro needles, and I've been looking at them for some time and seeing how attractive they look, and thought they look like they're good value for money, and they will work well. But the one thing that attracted me was the cable, and I'll show you in a sec. So I bought this, and this is the Kindness set, and this was £53 from Woolstack, and you get free postage, I think, over 35 or 40. And I chose the Kindness. I can't remember what the other one, but this is the 4-inch set. So you get a pouch like this. I'll show you everything you get. You get your needle tips, and I'll open that in a minute, zipped round. You get a smaller zipped pouch. It comes tagged, let you know what's in it. There's a booklet of all the mindful things they do, so that includes you know, for instance, the Grateful set is DPNs, and they're all sort of in this lovely turquoisey set. The Gratitude set, for instance, there in like a semicircle pouch, it's got 12 tips, and it's for lace, and it's called interchangeable lace tips. 12 pairs of interchangeables, and you get lots of things with them. So, and then finally, what else have I got in here? Yeah, that was oh yeah, I bought an extra cable. Do you know, I was looking at what you get for your money, and I was thinking, well, I've got 3 cables, but I bought an extra cable, and that was the packaging it came in. And then there's another what they call a gift of hand exercises, a little pamphlet of hand exercises to do with to help you when you're knitting, etc., and crocheting, and sat in the same position for a long time. So they look quite useful. I'm going to go at the hand ones, but I need to look them up again because I forget, as you do. So you get quite a lot. So taking that out, that swivel cable out, I don't think, it sounds like there's something in there, but I think I've took it out. Alright, so the swivel cable, I bought an extra 32-inch one, and it comes in a little thing with end caps and a cable key, which is useful. And I find that is what Knit Pro do with the first posh needles I bought when I started using interchangeables were symphonies, and I'm pleased with them. I think they've been very good, but I tend to stick to my higher sharps because I like the pointiness. So let's see what we've got in here. This is the needle case, the Mindful collection, and zips round and you get those. So you get 7 sets of tips, and they range from 3 up to 6. But weirdly, there's no 3.75, which I thought was strange because that's quite a common needle size. Excuse me. And also what you can do, where they've written on it, where in between there's still enough elastic to buy extras and shove them in, basically. Now the tips have got, let's pull out the 5.5, only 4 inches, and I don't know whether you can see this, but that says Believe on it. And they've all got something on it. The 6 say Peace, the 4.5 say Rejoice. Again, I don't think you're going to be able to see these, but I'll tell you what, they're a lot clearer than the cheer goos, which drive me up the wall. I'm going, even with my glasses on, I can't see what they are. And I have to get a needle gauge out every time I use my cheer goos because I cannot see what size they are. I can see most of the time with the higher. So yeah, you've got plenty of room for expansion there if you want to. The only thing I will say about this is it feels cheap. It feels like it's a piece of cardboard, which it may be, covered in quite a loose thread, like a linen type of thing. And it's probably me, I'm not doing that on purpose. I'm squashing it too hard together. And it does do up, I mean, you know. And you've got to look at what you get for your money these days. So that's the needle case, and then in the pouch you get 2 cables, and again they're colour coded. There's only 1 cable. Oh, there we go, there's the other cable. So the cables, you get a 16, what we'll make when you add your tips, 16 and a 22, and I bought a 32 because of what I wanted to use them for. Now the brilliant thing I like about these cables is that they are a cross between the higher that twist, you know, you don't have to twist the whole cable. The ends twist while holding the cable still. But as with the cross between those and the Chiagoos, who have metal encased, that it's like a metal twist, I think, covered in plastic, so that they don't have as much memory. They do have a bit of memory, but I think that would go with time if you wrap them up like that. If you do that to the hires, they are still kinked, whereas the Chiagoos and these will lose their memory and they won't get as wound up depending on where you're keeping them. I try not to wrap my hires up too much, but I keep them generally in the bags that they get sold in. So, but you don't want to keep, having it too wide for your longer cables, because you'd end up having quite a big bag otherwise if you had a few of the hire cables, if you didn't want to screw them off. I mean, am I talking sense? Anyway, so really, really like the cables, the fact that they swivel and they're made out of metal. And you get a colour coordinated needle gauge, obviously with US sizes on one and millimetres on the other, and that should do nearly everybody, because there aren't many of us who can remember UK sizes now. And then his tiny little pouch with a press stud on it, and I was really pleasantly surprised at what I got in here. I'll tip them out and show you. Oh. So you get 4 cable stoppers that screw in. You get 2 little keys, and they've got blobs on them that are colour coordinated again, and a cable connector. Okay, but there's more. Oh, there is more in there. Oh, there's 2 cable connectors there. So I don't know what I've done to deserve that. I've got 2 cable connectors. There we go. Then I'll just pop them back in, because I don't want them rolling off anywhere, because I'm so clumsy sometimes. And I like the fact they're all colour coordinated. I do like a bit of... I don't like the turquoise stone actually, because it's not see-through. I prefer my semi-precious stones to be ones that let in a bit of light. But and then in here there's a zip pocket, and then I was absolutely amazed to find even more things in here, and make sure I get everything out to show you. Right, so you get 2 plastic needles, tapestry needles for sewing up wool. I'll put these back in as I go, lose these things. You get different locking, I think there's 10 split ring markers like those, where you've got, can I hold one up? So you can slide them off, they open up, you can put them on and off, they're not fixed. You get 10 locking markers. If it looks like I've messed all this up, I'll put a link anyway to the Woolstack website or the Knit Pro Europe. And then you get 30 round markers. So this, with the locking stitch markers, you get tiny little round markers, all plastic, of 3 different sizes. Now I know they're only plastic, but it's a nice addition, isn't it? And I think this would make a super gift for somebody, for a knitter, if it was within the budget type of thing that anybody's looking for. So when I first opened it, I was really pleasantly surprised. Apart from the fact that it feels a little bit, the case just feels a little bit I don't know, compared to the higher, I think it's because it's stiff. It just makes it feel a bit cheap, but excuse me. I've been using them on my Sketch It cowl. And first of all, I found that the needles were coming loose quite a bit. So I've tightened them up properly again, and since I've done that, and I may not have done that in the beginning correctly, really, or slightly tight enough. I don't like to do it too tight because threads can get ruined very, very easily. Never try to really ram your interchangeable tip onto your cable. And if you do, leave them as fixed, because you will ruin the threads on both of them if you're not careful, and then they won't work for the next time you want to change them. So I was knitting around, but the one thing I don't like, and I would say it may just be the cable and needle combination that I'm working with, is I do find, let me get this back, that it catches there where the cable joins. There's a bit of a catch every now and again, and it's just, and it might just be that particular cable. I'm only going one direction, so I haven't tested it in the other direction. But whether that's the case, now these are the 4.5s, 3.5, and they say breathe on them. Probably can't see it, but yeah, that's the only negative I've found. They kept undoing on me. I could feel them, and then of course the wool gets trapped in the join, and that's really annoying, isn't it? But I've tighten them up and they seem okay. It's just that every now and again they seem to catch on the back, but I'll let you know. I mean, it might just be that particular wool or that particular tip with that cable. Overall though, I think it's very good value for money, because now, although Woolstack are higher stockists, they didn't have any sets in that I wanted to try and do a direct comparison with. So all those bits and pieces and those, with 7 sets of needles in, and the pouch, etc., they came to £53. Now I went on to Craft House Magic, because I know Ellie's a big fan of the higher sharps like I am, and the nearest I could get were 4-inch sharps, and they had 8 sets of needle tips ranging from 275 to 5mm, so one more set than the Knit Pro. They had 7 cables, which is very generous, and you get grips, those 2 rubber things to tighten rather than using you do get a key as well, but no, you don't get keys, do you? And there was a case, nice case, and a needle gauge, and all that came to £96. So it's getting on for double the amount. So you do get 5 more cables, and the biggest cable makes up to a 60-inch, which is good. And I love my hires. And if you said to me, having tried them both, which would you buy and spend your money on, I would go for the hires, because I love them and I found them to be very good. However, the cable can be annoying, and I found that more recently their cables, their connectors, when I try and attach the tips I've had for ages onto new cables, I've struggled with some of them, and I've had my money back. Well, I had replacements back from Woolstack when I've bought individual cables and I haven't been able to join them onto the tips. So I don't know whether that their quality control is slipping a little bit. I hope not, but you still get there. If you're on a long cable and you haven't got the amount of stitches to carry that long cable just yet, for the weight rise, you do get sort of coiling up, and that can be a bit annoying. Just change it onto a shorter cable, it would be. But my hires are still my favourite, because I do like the tips. But I think there's nothing wrong with investing in a set of either the 4-inch like I've got here, or the 5-inch tips. I think they're the same price, and they do bigger ones like the one I showed you before. I didn't look up the price of that, with the 12 sets of tips. I think there's nothing wrong with the Knit Pro. I think they're very good value for money, and yeah, I'd recommend them overall. I haven't been using them for very long, you know, so putting my money where my mouth is. But I don't regret buying them, and that's the main thing. I think the slight issue I've got with them, I could have with anything, you know. I have issues with my Chiagoos, and you know, they are expensive. I'm mainly trying to find out what size they are. But yeah, so if you're thinking of investing and you don't want to spend the money, or you don't want the sharps, now bear in mind, higher do steels that aren't as sharp as sharps. But I think they're the same price for kits. I don't think you don't pay any more for having the sharps. Then they might be worth looking at. But if you want something that's a bit better value for money, this would be ideal from Knit Pro. And there are various stockists in the UK. I recommend Woolstack because I get a very good service from Kevin and the team. And they're fairly local to me, actually. You know, they don't have a shop as such. But yeah. And thank you for that. I'll have to timestamp it so that if people don't want to listen to the review, then they can skip through. But there's no point, if I buy something, I should talk about, you know, especially notions and things. I don't think we go through the practicalities of these sort of things often enough, really. And a whole range of us doing the same thing as well. Now, all of you who are not interested in my incoming, just go away now, right? Because it's incoming. I've told you, I've warned you. So let's go and find it. Back in December, and this is where the excuses start, and the No Excuses podcast again, I was a little bit panicky that I'm going to try and enter into a no-buy yarn year. And I was looking on the Cami website. Now, I can't remember whether I was looking for something to go with my Titicaca or my Gold Crest, which I'd sort of failed to make look nice together like I'd wanted to. I'd envisaged in my head. It ended up looking really blotchy. In fact, I've got it down here. No, I can't quite reach it. And I am still signed up, and I shouldn't be, to the Zakami newsletter, and I quite like them because they do a lot of earth tones, you know. They said we've got this new range of colours coming out, and it's called Equinox. Order now, and it will be available in February. Now, somebody was talking to me about fluff, and I said, well, I'd prefer to use mohair and silk. So of course I ordered the Suri alpaca in the colourway Sol. It is, well, you can see for yourself, it's rather nice. It definitely my colours, it definitely. Now for some reason I'd got it into my head that it was basically brown. But, I mean, I've got two, I ordered 4. Right, but I mean, it's anything but brown. Do you know what I mean? I was just, where did I get excited? When I opened the box, I was pleasantly surprised. But I'm still thinking of putting it with the Titicaca, that dark brown. I think it might go because it will show the colours of that lovely. And the Titicaca is sort of a lace weight plus this. Now this is it's called Sol, S-O-L, and it's, which is sun, because we're heading up the equinoxes next week. 75% baby Suri alpaca, 25% silk. In 50 grams you get 420 metres, so it's officially, it's a non-superwash as well, and it's a lace weight. Now the reason why I said I would avoid Suri alpaca again is because my Felix jumper, which is knit with that and BFL, drops bits everywhere in the house. But at least these will be multicoloured bits. So yeah, look at that rust and purple and green, navy, just stunning. So I ordered 4 skeins of that. Those are 2 of them. Same colour. And then they threw in that, which is rather nice. Green with a splodge at the end. In fact, I must have had something very, very similar in the advent calendar that my poncho knitted in double knitting. Right. So, yeah. So it's the cami. So those are my incoming for them. And I'm not ashamed of it at all because it was bought before the 1st of January. However, as you can imagine, Tom and I have very romantic lives, and I said to him, what are you getting me for Valentine's Day? He said, wool? I went, well, that's a good idea. And I went, no, I'm not having wool because I said I won't have wool. It doesn't matter, I'm not bothered, we don't send cards. We don't usually have a special meal or, you know, sit at the same table to eat on that particular day. We just do, you know, say Happy Valentine's Day, and that's about it. Anyway, the following day, possibly, Holst Garn stupidly wrote to me. I blame them, you know, it's nothing to do with me, obviously. I've got excuses galore here. That 20% off, if you like it. So I went, yes, I would. Tom, you know what I said? I didn't want any wool. I said, would you like to buy me some for Valentine's Day? Yes, I would, he said, because he likes buying me things. But he said I should choose what I wanted. Now, this is in a Wool Warehouse bag. It's not from Wool Warehouse, it's from Holst. It took about 5 or 6 days to get here, which I thought was quite good. So, I have ordered too much because with the postage from there, I thought, well, I might as well order what I want. And then I don't have to go back again, do I? But effectively, I've got myself 2 more jumpers, like I need them. And my first... You fell over! It's because I've had to put the battery on charge while I record, because these batteries are rubbish in the GoPro. Right, as I was saying before the camera rudely interrupted me, I've bought some more Titicaca. Now the Titicaca is, and I'm not saying Titicaca, because titanium has changed to titanium for some inexplicable reason in this country. This is pure thin alpaca, and this is the colour Crown. It's a beautiful goldy colour. Yep, wear that. And this is going to go with the gold crest, because what you can do, they've got a table on their website where you can look at the colour that you want and it will tell you what goes with that colour. So I've bought 6 of Titicacas. You get 50 grams and you get 400 metres for those 50 grams. Pure alpaca. So I'm going to be knitting that with the Holst Super Soft Gold Crest that I showed you, that I tried to pair with the brown Titicaca, and it looked horrible. So I should have a nice yellow jumper or little cardigan or whatever with that, and it'll be nice and lightweight as well. And then I love the colour Willow that I've got on in Super Soft on the website. So I thought, well, I'll have some of that because that'd be nice. And then I started looking at other colours, and I decided I'd like to do the Rachel Ilsley pattern, Ashmore. And I looked at what I needed for it, and I thought, well, I like it when the motifs are different colours and they change. So this is my main colour, which is called Heath, and it's a gorgeous heathered green. Of course it's green. And I will put some pictures up, but my camera's useless at taking, my phone camera's. This is Damask. So This is verbena. Just remembered it. Ooh, it's slipping out of it. So it's a nice sort of straw colour, really, like a dull straw. And again, and then this is topaz, and it's a sort of sea greenish, really. They do robin's egg and they do something else that's very similar. The range of colours they do in Super Soft is excellent. So I've got, I don't know if I can hold all four, you know what I'm like, but I've got all these to go into. I'm thinking the damask might be a bit strong, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. Let me fingers and thumbs and put them all together. So this is the main colour, and then I'll put a photograph in. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 of the main colour, and I've got 1 each of these. Now the Super Soft blooms. It's, as many of you know, it's still got the spinning oil in it, and it doesn't bloom until you wash it. And for 50 grams you get 287 metres. So when I added those 3 contrast colours up, I've got more than I need for the motif in theory, and I should just make them work somehow. So there you go. It might look a bit odd. The other one I was looking at was the Caitlin Hunter Autumn Bloom. I can't remember that, if that's a, that might be a DK pattern, but I quite fancy that one as well. Either way, these colours are going to be colour work. So that is the incoming, and I'll see you in a minute for giveaway winners chat and what I've been up to. Ta-da a bit. I'm sure you're probably in a different position. I'm just going to sort of straighten you up slightly. Right, I've just moved the camera again after it fell over. Hope that you could see what I showed you in the incoming little bit. The good thing about Holtz is it's very good value for money, and the 20% off meant that it practically paid for my postage. So, you know, and I say it came very quickly. Right, let's chat about things, shall we? Well, no, let's do the draw, and the winner of the 700 subs is, I'm going to put a screenshot on the screen now, is Jan from the Faithful Sheep podcast. Congratulations, Jan. Jan is in the UK, and I know she's had a break from podcasting, and I need to catch up with the 2 recent ones she's done. But yes, I will be in touch with you, Jan, or get in touch with me and tell me what your least favourite colours are, so that I can at least make you something that you like. So congratulations, and thank you everybody for entering. It took me ages to answer everybody. Some of you got revolting taste, I must admit. And your idea of snack, I don't know whether I think, well, I don't know what my idea of snacking. It made me think, what's a snack and what's a treat? Are they the same? I'm not sure. But yeah, my snack relays was a very, very light meal, like a piece of bread and a bag of crisps, or a bag of crisps. I don't tend to think of chocolate, or maybe a couple of biscuits. Yeah, I probably like too many things. Right, yes, interesting. It took me days to answer YouTube, answer you on YouTube this time, because, and I'm not the only one. I've looked on Google, and it's a very common problem at the moment, that you can literally just type one letter at a time onto YouTube, and it takes ages to catch up with itself. And I think it's because they're pushing premium and they want people to buy premium. Well, what happened is somebody else will set up a new platform and people will move if they're not careful. Yeah, we have to watch so many adverts. Anyway, I know it's free and all that, but just frustrating. Speaking of adverts, how do some of these adverts appear in the UK? Some of them are totally illegal under our laws, but somehow they seem to get away with it. And they know I'm in the UK, so it's not that, is it? Some loophole. Anyway, I'm not moaning because, you know, you see me for free, hopefully. There you go. Just a very, very quick run through. I've not done very much at all. I'm like this about my new drugs. I don't think they're helping me, really. So I'm going back to the doctor's in March, and I'll discuss it with her then. I met with Penny and Maggie around the pub, and that was nice. Not seen them for a while, and we had a chat. And Harley, the border terrier that Penny's now got, and she's a lot more settled, and she's walking well because she was refusing to walk when Penny first had her. So yeah, had a nice chat round there. Had my hair cut, as you can tell probably, because my fringe gets very, very straight. So I just noticed Tom walking down the garden with the compost bin. And then Mum came round last week for a visit, and I'm going to ask her in a minute if she wants to come round this again to have roast dinner with us, because we bought a chicken that Tom's just cooked, or cooking at the moment, so yeah. And what time is it? It's quite light out. It's been quite a nice day today. It's just gone 5 o'clock, and it's really quite light out, and that's really, really nice. I haven't really got anything else to chat about. I've told you about the needles and everything else, so I think I'll leave you here because it's just over an hour. By the time I've edited bits out, hopefully it'll be about 50-55 minutes. So I'll see you in about a fortnight. Take care. You know where I am if you want to contact me, and people have been. It's lovely to be in touch with you all. Look after yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and I'll see you in spring. Take care. Bye.